You're looking to fit polyurethane bushes like these snazzy yellow ones? Stick around, I'll show you how. So the story is that I bought my Niva just over a year ago now, and when I got it, it was off the road, so I had to do it up and restore it. Well, I'll get it to a condition where it would pass an MOT, and the first MOT I ever took it on, I thought it would fail on its bushes, but it's now passed 2 MOTs with the bushes as they are, but it started clunking now. When you put it under load, it started clunking, so the bushes are getting quite yeah, bad. I mean, these are the arms off the Red Bear, and you can see that they're cracked and whatnot. They are cracked, but they wouldn't last long. The ones on the Beast at the moment, they are worse than that, a lot worse. So we're fitting yellow ones, polyurethane bushes. Various advantages. There's also disadvantages to polyurethane. It's not like everybody always says that they're the best thing since sliced bread. They do have disadvantages, but they last a lot longer than rubber bushes as long as they're correctly maintained, and that for me sells it on the Beast. I'm currently undecided on the Red Bear what I'm going to fit, but anyway, these are off the Red Bear. I'm fitting these yellow polyurethane bushes, and then they're going to go on the Beast. So let's crack on, and I'll show you how to do it. Right, so the first arm that I'm going to show you is the bottom arm, the bottom control arm. Now, obviously the biggest problem that we face is we can't get the ram from the hydraulic press. By the way, you can do this with a vise, but it's a lot of effort. If you have a hydraulic press, obviously that's a big bonus, but you can by I don't know, messing around and working out ways of doing it. You can do it with a vise. It's a lot of work though to do it with a vise. So I'm just going to use the press. But our biggest problem is obviously this ram here. We need to be pressing these bushes out, i.e. this bottom one, down to get it out. So what I do is I use the actual bolt that's used to hold the control arm on, and I just put it in through the first bush, and then I put the nut on like so, and that actually acts as a press, as an extension through the original bush, through the first bush. And then I'll tighten this up. Sometimes I put a washer on. If it gives me a particular amount of grief, I'll just put a big washer on that spreads the load onto the outside of the bush. So I've tightened that nut up completely, well, as far as I can with the ratchet. And then I'll just put this washer on, and then the actual thread helps us line the bolt up with the bush. And then I press it into, this is a bit of a 2-inch 50mm exhaust pipe, and it fits perfectly over there, so I just press it into that. Make sure it's as close to vertical in all planes as you can before you start pressing down. Stop it bending anything. And it will go with a bang. 99% of the time it goes with a bang. There you go, that's the bang. Okay, and relieve the pressure. Pull this back out. I'm just going to take the washer out. And we'll press it out the rest of the way. Now, one thing I always forget to do is exactly what I've just done. Take my advice and leave this bush in until you've cracked this one off here. and it'll help you with the alignment. It'll stop this shaft from bending, and it'll help you with the alignment as well. Makes a big difference. Now we just press the other one out. Ta-da! And then you just spin the bolt around and press the other one the rest of the way out. If the inside of these is particularly rusty, you might have to sand it out. Probably get away with just a Scotch Brite on this. It's not too bad at all. So yeah, really you should clean these out, otherwise it'll just deteriorate the new bush. So I do the bent arm first. I don't do the straight arm first. You just slot it in, get a 32mm socket, put that over the top, and get you a bit of exhaust pipe, slot it through, and press it down. So what we've got is the 32 socket on the bottom, followed by an 1 5/8" socket, and then the shaft again, the bolt that holds it onto the car through the bush. And that allows us, because if you try putting this on your press the correct way up, as I did this bush here, it doesn't fit, it won't reach the ram, so you just got to press it through the whole mechanism. There you go, that's your bushes fitted. So the way we press this out is we actually press this shaft through, and that pushes the bush out that way, and then we put the shaft back in and we press that bush out that way. Now what can happen is the arm can get bent, so what I do is I've just knocked this bit of box that goes in there, and it just taps in place. And that just stops the arm from being bent. These bend together like that. And then we just get a bit of exhaust pipe and press it down. One thing I would say is if you're going to do this, you need to make sure you get a couple of these washers, 4 of them in fact. I think they're M16 by 30. By 30, because they often break as you're pressing out. Next one. So that's your shaft that you've just pressed out, and as you can see this is covered in rust, and that's because the bush had seized on. And to get it off, what I do is I just rip the outer sleeve off with the rubber, and then I just get a flat disc and grind this down until it's just pierced through. Don't know if you can see that. Just pierced through there like that, and then I just get it in the vise lightly and twist the shaft, and we just wobble it off and it pulls straight off. Just got to be obviously careful that you don't, I've only just clipped that there, and really, I mean, it's not my best job in the world, but it's not a problem. You just don't want to get a big flat spot on that shaft. And then afterwards, I'll just clean that up on the wire wheel, or if you've got a hand brush, wire brush, you can do it with that as well. A bit of Scotch-Brite afterwards, clean it up. So that's our bare arm. So what we do, doesn't matter which one you start with on the top arm. So I just put that in there, followed by our 32mm socket, and then what we've got a 34mm socket with a 10-inch extension on it. I just put that in there, like so, and then just press down on that. Right, that's the first one in. Then next, take the shaft and I copper grease the shaft just to stop because one of these was seized on, it just stops it, well, reduces the chances of that happening. Do not forget your washer, you will regret it, because it means you've got to press it all back out again. Ask me how I know. And then we put the shaft in, like so. Happy days. Grease this end as well. Shaft in, washer, then you get your bush, slide your bush over. And then you get your 32 socket, put it over the top. And I recommend putting your box section in as well. You can do this so that it either sits in there or it sits in the socket. I think I'll do it so that it sits in the socket. And you press it down. And that's why we put the box in. Otherwise, we run the risk of bending the arms. You can straighten them back out again, but it's not ideal. Just square that bush up. And that's your top control arm done. Like I say, just don't forget those washers, and don't forget to put your arm in before you press the other bushes, this bush on. So you do this one, and then put your control arm, your washers, and then your bush on. If you forget to do that, you've got to strip it all back down again and put it all in afterwards again. There we go. Top control arm done. So the next bit is to take the bushes out of the trailing arm. So all I use is a 13mm deep socket, and this socket here can be whatever size you want, but this just happens to be a 26mm. But as long as it's deep again, just so that because what we're going to do is we're going to use this socket to press our collar out of the centre of this bush, So you just put it on there like that and press away. Then what I do is I just go to the vise and clamp them. Well, this one will just pull straight out. This one I'll clamp in the vise and I'll just wobble it so it'll yank straight out. So then we need to push the rubber out of it. So I use an 18. You can get away with a 17 or a 19 or something like that. And then this bit of bar for my press. If you were doing this in a vise, you might need a deep socket, the same diameter as this collar, as the actual trailing arm outer diameter, just so that the rubber bush has somewhere to go. But we're just going to press it straight out the bottom of the press, like so. I'll just go get that in the vise again and just squeeze that in the vise and then just yank it, pull it out. So we've got both our bushes off, and basically where the rubber was, it's just full of rust. I don't know if it's going to zoom in or not on our... see if it'll behave itself. Yeah, that's about the best we're going to get. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a hammer, a little tiny hammer, just chip at that rust away, and then I'll get a wire brush on a drill and clean that out. There you go, that's showing it there. You do not want to put your bushes in these tie bars, in these drag links or tie bars or anything while there's rust in there. It'll just rip your bush to shreds. So nice and clean, no rust whatsoever, and then we're going to put them in with a bit of rubber grease. So we've got the rust cleaned out. I put some rubber grease in there. Use rubber grease. Do not, whatever you do not use a petroleum-based grease such as Vaseline. The amount of people that you see online saying that you can use Vaseline, it's like one of the worst things you can do. It will just deteriorate the rubber. It'll deteriorate the bush itself, eat away at it. You think that polyurethane, off the top of my head, is a petroleum-based rubber, so it'll just eat away at that. It also eats away at the natural rubbers as well. So whatever you do not use a petroleum-based grease to put these bushes in. Make sure you use a proper rubber grease. And then just lube the bush up. So I'm using red rubber grease. Just blather the whole thing. No messing. Get the whole thing covered in it. These can be a real ball ache to get in. So we got our bushes and our arm all greased up. So what I do, I've got a bolt and then a washer on top of it. What that does is it serves as an alignment aid, helps the bush from spinning, twisting out of the arm itself. It can be, with these funny shaped bushes, it can be a bit of a ball ache getting them to fit into the actual arm. So we'll see what we can do. Okay, so that's in. Take our bolt out. We're going to put our collar in. The collars, again, same applies. So these are both out the same shaft. I've cleaned this one up slightly. It's not ideal, but it's not too bad. This, I'm not even going to bother cleaning that up. That's just way too far gone. So again, this isn't too rough a surface. You know, it's just a little bit of pitting in it, but it's not too bad. This, once you've cleaned this up and you put it back in, it would just rip the bush to shreds. So get some new ones. I'm going to get some new ones turned up at work. I'll take a bit of barring and use a lathe just to turn some new bushes up. Again, rubber grease on the actual collar itself, like so. And then what we're going to do first, we're just going to put our 13mm socket in because it's a nice tapered seat. So we'll put it in this way. Press it in first like that. Then press it down into the bush. Let that back out. Put that bush on there, that collar. Press it down. There you go. Just repeat for the other side. Give this a clean off. That's it. Simple as that. These are difficult to get in. If you got a vise, I mean, it would be even more difficult on a vise because you've got to have a socket behind it for the socket, for your smaller socket to go into, to press into. Whereas with these, because you've got a bottomless pit, it just drops straight through. So your alignment on a vise would be difficult. That's why I recommend a press, really. And they are definitely not the easiest bush in the world to fit. But there you go. That's polyurethane bush. And then just repeat at the other end. Happy days. Right, that's it. That's the job done. It's not a bad job. It is a bit time consuming. And you do really... You can do it with a vise, but I mean, it's not exactly the easiest job with a hydraulic press. So with a vise, I would imagine it can be a bit of a ball ache, really. Quite complicated and difficult. But if you had a big vise, yeah, it can be done with a vise, I can imagine. I'm going to do... I've managed to get all the arms that I can done. I am running short. One of the tie bar for the back axle off the Red Bear was bent, so I'm just going to get a new one of those. Actually, I'll probably just use the one off the Beast. And the lower drag link as well. One of those was rotted out basically on the Red Bear, so I'm just going to use again one off the cream one, and then I'll get some new ones for the... Well, I think I'm going to make some new ones for the Red Bear, some stronger ones. I'm going to do a video, like I say, on the pros and cons of polyurethane bushes, because it isn't all pluses. There are negatives to them. It's all dependent on what your requirements are, what your preferences are. So yeah, that'll probably be the next video. I really appreciate the likes, comments, and the subscriptions at the moment. It's going well. Channel's growing nicely. I'm trying to get a video a week out, but I've got that much on my plate at the moment. It's getting the time. I'm having to go through a whole load of qualifications and stuff like that. But I'm getting there. We are making progress on everything. So that's the good things. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And cheers for now.